Everyone, Costin here with my essential guide for Aliens Dark Descent, where we are going to be fighting humans for at least a bit over here in this particular video. Though don't worry, there will be plenty of aliens to deal with. Now, over here, I just want to go over the essentials in terms of playing the game, because there are certainly things to figure out when you pick up this game for the first time. Many things. Like over here, for instance, when this is a real-time strategy game, but you do have pause. It's basically XCOM in real-time mode. Now, when you press pause, you do enter slow motion, and you do get the command bar. The command bar, every action over here consumes command points, which are a limited, resource. Though it does replenish, but you have to be careful about what you're doing with your command points and how you are going to use them throughout the course of a mission, because the replenishment can be pretty low. You won't just be able to use them willy-nilly throughout the course of every single gunfight you're just gonna get engaged in. If you're wondering, by the way, why we're fighting humans, it's, well, the cultists, suffice it to say. And I don't mind spoiling that, because this is literally the second mission of the entire game. It's like, I was a bit what the fuck initially, but it will be explained in due course. Now, here's how the game works on a fundamental level. You have a map, or you have multiple maps that you deploy on, and you get a certain number of objectives on those maps as you deploy. But you can leave on almost all the maps at any point. You just go to your APC, Armored Reconnaissance Carrier as it's called in the game, but it's basically an APC, and you just extract. Now, the game is designed on purpose that you will have to go on the vast majority of maps, with some exceptions, but on the vast majority of maps, you will be going multiple times to complete the objectives. This is on purpose. The reason you will do so is because you have limited resources available to you. So limited ammo over here, for instance, my guys are kind of getting low on ammo. I won't be able to keep this up. Command points may also replenish very slowly. Tools, which are used to weld doors, to hack computers, all that stuff, they're also limited. Medical supplies are limited. Sentry guns are limited. All of that is limited, and you're dealing with the infinite hordes of enemies in every particular mission that you may encounter. Over here, we are dealing with the infinite horde of human enemies, but the aliens will also make an appearance. Don't you worry about that. There will be aliens, plenty of aliens to fight. Purge the heretic and the Xeno, indeed. So you have to balance it out. Like, how much do you want to accomplish in every single mission when you deploy versus the resources you have on hand? Beyond that, there's other things that do create issues. First off is stress. As your guys engage in combat, beyond of course taking damage, which inevitably will happen, but beyond your guys taking damage, and the more damage you take, by the way, the longer it's going to take to heal up. So some light damage that I've taken over here, that's easy enough to heal up post-battle. It doesn't matter that you can use a medkit to finish a mission with the character at full HP. Well, it does, but there's only so much that will do. Ultimately, you will need to spend time in the medbay. So if you spend an entire mission getting your guys banged up, guess what? They're going to have to spend a significant amount of time in the medbay to recover from everything that they've encountered. Beyond that, there's stress. Every character has stress levels. During a mission, there are 3 different stress levels that you can get to, like max stress level. The more stress you build up, you get temporary negative traits, but you also get trauma points. Trauma points carry over to the campaign map and trauma points give permanent negative traits as long as you do have a high level of trauma. You can reduce it. You can reduce it, but it requires therapy. I'll go into how you reduce it in a bit, but suffice to say that it will take time to deal with. Also, so will healing take time. So you have to be careful with your guys, but at the same time, you don't have all the time in the world to, you know, just deploy however many times you want. There is a limit, because you have various doom timers. So you have doom timers in missions, then you have doom timers on the campaign map as well. It is a wonderful and exhilarating experience, I gotta tell you. Levels also have a great deal of verticality. You don't have the resources to deal with. Then you have the aggression meter, which isn't active here because I've just been fighting humans, but basically, you start with easy aggression, only a handful of aliens roaming around, checking things out, and as you play through more and more of various levels, that aggression goes up. Because whenever you fight an alien, unless you're using like a stealth kill, like you can use a flamethrower to kill eggs. You won't kill an alien with the flamethrower, that's for damn certain. But you can use a flamethrower to get the sneak kill. You can use a silent sniper to get more kills and all that. And over here, I'm actually going to stop the mission because I don't necessarily have the resources necessary to deal with this. I also could really use a hacker and more ammunition in particular before going for the next mission. Like over here, I've cleared out everything that you see over here up to this point, and that's, as far as I see it, good enough. You do have to make these kind of judgment calls, and you have to know when to stop. Right now, I'm low on ammo, I don't have a hacker, there's more and more doors that are going to be locked off. But aggression increases the more you encounter aliens during a particular mission. In this case, I'm not dealing with aliens initially, but the vast majority of missions you will have alien aggression. So alien aggression starts easy. You then, when you kill any alien, they will start hunting for you. The more they hunt for you, the more there's a chance for a massive onslaught. A massive onslaught is basically where you put out the sentry guns, which are automated machine guns, and you pray that they will be able to stop what's coming towards you. And you should always do that in a choke point. Because if you're just gonna do it randomly, you're gonna start suffering a significant amount. Like in an open space, the aliens will annihilate. You need to find choke points. You need to build defensive lines if you're gonna stand a chance against them. But you can't spend all the time in the world, because as you get hunted more, as there's more and more alien onslaughts, the more that happens, the worse things are going to get the worse things are going to get for you, because there's campaign because there's more and more enemies that are going to show up. But at the same time, you also want to complete the missions in as few deployments as possible. Every deployment costs a day. So every single day you can only do one campaign action. It can be a side mission where you don't have a regular mission, but you lose the deployment and you do some side objective on the campaign map. Or over here I'm going to go with Mind Seal. Or it can be a main mission. But obviously deployments will get your guys wounded, it will increase their stress level, it will also tire them. So over here, like my guys who've been through missions, they're wounded, they're tired, they're just like, they need time to rest. It takes 2 days to recover from the tired effect. It may take multiple days to recover from mental trauma. It may take multiple days to recover from wounds.
Deputy Administrator Hayes.
But the thing is, you don't have all the time in the world on the campaign map. Initially, you get this infestation meter, planetary infestation. The more you wait, the more days... the more days you wait, well, one, you can get these negative effects, but they can also be positive effects as well. But the more you wait, the higher the infestation level. And what infestation really means, ultimately, it just represents how bad things are.
This one's a priority.
Ultimately, ultimately going to get. Like, it will increase the level of the enemies that you're dealing with from the very beginning of a particular mission. So you need to be mindful of this particular balancing act that you do have available between, like, completing a mission quickly because of the campaign doom meter, the first one, the infestation. Then there's the planetary annihilation meter. You still have infestation to deal with, but yes, there are things to worry about. Now, leveling wise, you have class traits, then common traits. Like, common traits is a pool of traits that anyone can pick from, can choose from. Class traits, you have 3 different class traits. And then you have upgrades where you can use materials in order to get certain particular traits. Like, for instance, over here, I have a gunner. There's 4 classes. There's gunners, there's medic, there's techer, and then there's sniper. Sniper has a sniper rifle ability. The gunner has the smart gun available. Though you do need to construct the smart gun. Keep in mind, you won't get that for free. So you need to construct the weapons you're going to use. You need to make a sniper rifle if you're going to use a sniper rifle, which means going into the workshop. But the way you level up is you pick the different traits. In the barracks, you can also assign people to training, though that comes later. You do get the training yard available so that your Marines can get experience passively while you're not doing stuff. In the workshop, you can build various weapons. Like, you'll have mines available, incinerators, shotguns, all that. You don't have to constantly produce grenades, by the way. You just need to produce it once. So in this case, we are going to unlock the smart gun for 100 resources. The things here can be expensive. Engineers can also generate materials per day. Though in that case, I did get a negative effect that caused issues. In the lab, you use... in the lab, you can get research done. Now, speaking about engineers and physicians, like in the medical quarters, you can assign the physicians that you do have available to heal up people, like passively. Like, what you're seeing here is how many days it would take passively, but you can assign physicians to take care of particular patients to prioritize them. I'm not sure what happens if you just let the physicians do whatever they want, if they just, you know, do extra healing if you don't prioritize them. Not entirely certain on that. And you can find more Marines, engineers, and physicians in missions. So recruiting people, finding people to recruit is actually an important part of the game. Spending time in missions, exploring things, getting materials to construct weapons, but not just weapon. It's not just the weapons that you're constructing. It's also other things that you're doing with those materials. So, for instance, as I deploy here and select my squad, we're gonna go with the smart gun, and yeah, we're gonna go with McDonald as well. I wonder if anyone... Yeah, he does have the hacking ability, which is actually pretty important. And just to talk about trauma, you do have three tiers of trauma, and you get the permanent negative trait until you remove it with trauma. But as you deploy in missions, you will have the tools that you finished the previous mission with, but you also will have to spend materials to pick up more tools. And then there's also Xenotech, Xeno samples. Now, Xeno samples are used to unlock upgrades that fill up the tab right here. These can give you... Like, these are just temporary buffs, because you always have to use Xeno samples for every mission where you go in that. Like, one can remove face huggers, which is kind of pretty important, but I just don't have the ability to go with that. One really important one is grenades, because when you're facing hordes of enemies, improving your grenades to give a penalty effect, movement effect, movement penalty effect is a kind of important thing to have in your entire arsenal. So you have to worry about materials, you have to worry about tools, you have to worry about medkits, you have to worry about sentry guns. When it comes to tools, medkits, sentry guns, whenever you're starting a mission, you can make do with few of those. Like when you're going on your first deployment on a particular map, and you will be going on multiple deployments, you could go with very little in terms of like tools and medical supplies, though I would recommend some all the same. But you don't need to max them out. I would always max out the sentry guns, because while you certainly can find some of them in missions, they're generally in difficult to reach places, and you're usually not going to encounter those from the very start of the mission. And you might need those sentry guns from the early part of a mission if you're going to set up choke point to kill the bastards that you're dealing with. One tool for free ammunition. I'm not sure if that's a worthy trade-off, to be honest. Ammo is one thing you can't increase. Oh, that's a lot of them. But thankfully the ARC is just gonna kill every single one of them. But now, because I did bring a hacker with me this time around, I do have more options. Like, I can open this particular door. And I think I saw a body over there. Well, no, it was just a crate, okay. A medkit, ammo. Generally, it's those kind of rewards that you do get. And that door in particular is locked at the moment. Although you can open it, because you can break down the walls. Didn't realize there was a broken wall. To break down walls, you need to set up C4 charge, which does consume an ammo clip. Funnily enough, shotgun blast grenades don't consume any kind of ammo. They just consume command points, which regenerate anyway. Speaking about command points, you can regenerate them during a battle or before a battle by using tactical analysis, which consumes a tool to give you 2 command points. You can also use something called Retribution. The way Retribution works is that when your Marines are take stress damage by engaging combat, like stress increases by engaging in combat. But when your Marines engage in combat and their stress increases, or when they take damage, or both, more likely both, you can your retribution meter will start filling up. That's how that particular thing works. And as it fills up, you can then use retribution. The main thing about retribution is that it can heal you for a small amount, but crucially, your bravery is temporarily increased. That's pretty sweet. Most importantly, though, your command points will regenerate very, very quickly. So when shit hits the fan and you've got a horde of 100 aliens, and don't be surprised when you fight hordes that are up to 100, if not even more, because things can get that hectic. When shit hits the fan and you really need to spam a huge amount of shotguns, flamethrowers, grenades, that's the moment when you use retribution. Also helps with because of the bravery to keep your guys from flipping the fuck out, which they certainly will otherwise. Those are some of the things to know when it comes to playing this game. My advice when you're dealing with encounters, like when it comes to it, when you're starting a mission, you want to go pretty aggressively, because you will have the resources, your stress levels will be low on guys, so you do want to do as much as possible early on. Get resources, explore, etc., etc. Later on, however, you might want to be cautious. But what's important regardless of how you decide to approach a level, like when I say being aggressive, I just mean being aggressive in exploration. But when it comes to engaging enemies, you kind of don't want to engage in that many firefights, because every firefight that you engage is ultimately going to increase the aggression level of your enemies. Here's more damn cultists. Like the cultists, the human enemies that you will be dealing with throughout the game, they work separately from the aliens. So the aliens have their own aggression meter, they have all their mechanics, etc., etc. But the human enemies don't count on that. They don't have an aggression meter. There is an infinite horde of both of them, and I think that's one of the main drawbacks, if I would say there is any with regards to the game. It's like, there isn't a finite number of enemies on a level. It is an infinite amount. If you can spend all the time in the world, you will not run out of enemies to fight in a particular level. And I think that is one of the major shortcomings in the game. Like, it shouldn't be an infinite amount of aliens and humans to fight, to be quite blunt about it. Like, how many humans and aliens could there be, right? It's like, it isn't like they just made an infinite amount of people on this planet. But no, it does feel like you do fight an infinite number of enemies. So you won't run out of enemies to kill. So you need to be careful. You need to pick your fights. When you do engage in a fight, the best outcome with respect to that is to find yourself a nice choke point. I actually don't have any. If I were to hold up in this particular mission, I would probably, since this gate is closed, I'd probably set up a turret line like so. Like if I was having a massive alien horde through an onslaught showing up, I would just put down a bunch of turrets like so. They would have to come through this corridor. Since these rooms are also closed off, they'd only be able to advance through here. So I lay down suppressive fire like so. And then as the aliens advanced, I would start throwing grenades and shotgun blasts. I would also throw a flare at them, because flares increase the accuracy. And once you're done, you pick up your sentry turrets. Sentries don't cost anything to deploy, though they do take time to deploy, keep that in mind. And that little demonstration cost me 2 command points to make. And then once you're done with them, once an enemy onslaught happens, you need to do this, because an onslaught is always going to find you. You can't outrun it. It won't stop. So you will always have a fight on your hands with regards to that. So you need to find yourself a nice, a solid choke point like that. It can be a room, it can be a corridor. Ideally a long corridor with only one entrance, because that way your turrets will start shooting at the enemy from farther away and they will be more effective. So will your guys. Speaking about your guys and just shooting in general, your guys will automatically shoot at targets, either standing still or when you're moving. Not running. When you're running, you can't shoot, but when you are moving, your guys can shoot. You can left-click on a particular alien or human enemy to prioritize them as targets. You know, by the way, fun fact, the human enemies are actually the more durable ones. And now we get into a chasing. When aliens die, they spray acid. And in this case, I think the game kind of bugged out. Yes, they have a tendency of doing that. Of dodging your shots. They're cheeky little buggers, aren't they? And over here, I'm setting up a turret. And we are safe. For the moment. But we can also see that there's a lot of enemies there. Whenever, one important thing is to talk about, like, resting. You do need to manage your stress during a mission, because if you just let it go out of control, things will get pretty nasty pretty quickly. You can reduce stress using pills on characters, but the more effective way of managing stress is find a room like this. Well, not like this, because this one has a lot of entrances, and if they were actually open, you'd have to weld all of the doors. And you generally find a room with one entrance, you weld that particular door, and then you can rest. Also, since the maps are so massive, you won't just get access to the map to them, but you can find yourself a sector map, which can give you all the information on a particular sector. Here, I could really use some information on this higher level. You can also find cameras, which can give you information on particular parts, like will give you a direct vision. Like the sector map will just give you the layout of, but it won't tell you what the layout of the map, but it won't tell you what's in the rooms that you do have ahead. Cameras will tell you what lies in those particular rooms. Some missions have cameras, some missions have sector maps, some missions have both, some missions have neither. It depends on the mission in question. The big maps like this one, or the first mission that you deal with, which is really a huge, bigger tutorial mission, they will have both, most likely, at least in certain parts. Though how useful at certain stages that will be, that depends on the mission in question. Like sometimes you might find a bunch of, you might find the sector map and it's completely worthless for many of the areas you've already visited because you've already gone there. Some of the things to know when you're playing this game. Some of the things to bear in mind over here. And I would say that that is all you really need to know. By the way, resting in a room like that, it does require at least one tool to weld an area shut. And when you do rest, crucially, you're also you're gaining command points, you're gaining... Ooh, that was nasty. You're gaining command points, but you're also saving the game. The way that the save system works in this game, by default at least, the default save system is... It will save at certain points, generally with like main objectives. But it will also save when... And that's the camera system, by the way. It will also save when you rest the first time in a particular room. There is an alien there, as we can see. He doesn't feel particularly happy to see us. Now, I've disabled all dialogue, by the way. There might be a wall to break through over there. Probably there, if I'm not mistaken. Some ammo, some much needed tools. And then we have hostages to save over here in this particular level. You may also run, like in various objectives, like various things like the breakable walls. Cover may also be important when dealing with the cultists, because they do have guns. And as you progress through the game, they will have more and more guns for you to deal with. And there's the hostage takers dealt with. Okay, that is all. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more.